संवृत्तो वागर्थप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ।
सर्वेभ्यो वन्दनानि। IIT मद्रास् इत्यत्र संस्कृतसमितेः आश्रये प्रचाल्यमानं कुमारसम्भवप्रवचनम् अधुना चतुर्थे सर्गे भवामः। एकविंशे श्लोके एकविंशः श्लोकः पर्याप्तः समाप्तः, तथापि एकवारं पुनः स्मृत्वा पुरः गच्छामः। मदनेन विना कृता रतिः क्षणमात्रं किल जीवितेति मे वचनीयमिदं व्यवस्थितं रमणत्वामनुयामि यद्यपि. So I carry the blame that Rati survived even after the exit of Madana. Madanena vinakrita ratihi kshanamatram kila jivati iti. So even if it be that she survived for but a minute, even that is a sort of a blemish that my love towards you is not whole and complete and pure and unsullied. Vachaniyam means blame. Idam vyavasthitam ramanatvam anuyami idyapi. So I am shortly to follow you. And she says, Kriyatam kathamantya mandanam paralokanteritasya te maya samameva gatosya tarkitam gatimangena cha jivitena cha. How am I to perform the final decorations for you? Antya mandanam, the final decorations. Katham kriyatam, how am I to create for you they who have already left for the other world? Paralokantiritasya te maya katham kriyatam, how is it to be done by me now? Samameva gatosya tarkitam gatim angena cha jivitena cha. So it is not that Manmatha died and his body remains. Both of them, Anga and Jivita, his body and his life, have alike departed. Atarkitam gatim gataha. Gatim gataha, you have gone to a place. Atarkitam, which is something unthinkable, unimagined by me. And simultaneously, samameva, in Sanskrit, samam works as an adverb also. So samam as an adjective means equal, as an adverb it can mean simultaneously or equally. So here simultaneously your anga and your jivita, your body and your life have departed in the most unexpected manner, in the most unanticipated manner. And therefore the last functions like placing a wreath on the dead body or doing some other decoration, so like for example placing the paste on the head and sandal paste on the head and so on, such things, so which are parts of the final ritual. So how am I to do those things? Because your body itself is gone now, so your body and your life are alike gone together, and you have departed to the other world, and in a manner that is totally unexpected. Rujitam Nayata Smarami. So now she remembers one incident to which she was witness. So with Manmatha and Madhu or Vasanta were together. So Rujutam Nayata Smaramite Sharamutsanga Nishanna Dhanmanaha Madhuna Saha Sasmitam Katham Nayanopanta Vilokitan Chayat. So Smarami, I remember. So your activity along with Madhuna Saha, along with Vasanta, so your comrade, Madhuna Saha Sasmitam Katham. It is a merry talk along with Madhu. in this jolly conversation, Sasmitam Katham, so this conversation went on while Manmatha was straightening his arrow. So Ruju is straight. Rujutam Nayataha Te. So while you were straightening, Rujutam Nayati means straightens. So Rujutam Nayataha Te, what was he straightening? His arrow, Sharam, the arrow, with the bow on the lap. Utsanga Nishanna Dhanvanaha. So Dhanus is the bow which was Nishanna placed on the lap, Utsanga, of Manmatha. So Manmatha had placed the bow on his lap and was straightening the arrow, and on that occasion, Madhuna Sahasasmitam Katham. So you are talking merrily with Madhu, and you also cast side glances with him. So towards him, Nayanopanta Vilokitancha Yad. Nayanopanta, he is towards the corner of the eye. Vilokitam, so looking at him with a sidelong look. So you were carrying on a merry conversation. I remember that. So at the moment of the departure, so after the death of Manmatha, she is now recounting and recollecting some of the sweet moments they all had together, and she remembers this episode of Manmatha straightening his arrow, and this was being done in the company of Madhu, his eternal friend, and therefore she is recollecting that incident and the way the conversation went on. So with in a very happy mood with Madhu, and the way he looked at Madhu. So all these things she is now remembering. Konute hridayangamasakha kusuma yojita karmuko madhuhu nakhalu ugra rusha pinakina gamita sopi suhridratam gatim. Now the moment she remembers Madhu, the incident with Madhu, she remembers that Madhu is not to be seen around at all. Madhu is always the companion of Manmatha, and he is not to be seen. So we saw in the third canto how Manmatha and Madhu came together to the place where Shiva was performing tapas, and suddenly Madhu doesn't seem to be not around at all, and therefore puzzled she asks, Konute hridayangama sakha, where is your bosom friend? Hridayangamaha sakha is the most dear friend, the bosom friend of yours, that is Madhu. Where is he now? Konute. So kusuma yojita karmuko madhuhu. He is the person who is the designer of your bow. So karmuka is the bow. So kusuma yojita, made of flowers. The person who designed your bow made of flowers, Madhu. So where is he to be seen now? So he is such a bosom friend of yours, and he is not to be seen around now. Nakhalu ugra rusha pinakina gamita sopi suhridgatam gatim. I hope. So in Sanskrit, khalu is sometimes used in the beginning of a sentence as the first word or the second word. So mostly it's the second word. So in the senses of jignasa and anunaya, jignasa anunaye khalu, says Amarakosha, and therefore nakhalu ugra rusha pinakina gamitaha sopi suhridgatam gatim. I only wish, or I only hope, that he has not been reduced to the same state as his friend Manmatha himself has been by Shiva, who is very furious. Ugra rusha pinakina, by Shiva, pinakina, the wielder of the bow, Pinakin. So who is Ugra Rush? So one whose anger is most ferocious. So in his fiery anger, I only hope he has also not been dealt the same deal as Manmatha has been. Suhridgatam gatim, the self-same fate as has been suffered by the friend, that is by Manmatha. Sopi gamitaha khalu nakhalu. So I only hope that he has not been reduced to the same state, which is to say, I hope that he has also not been reduced to ashes by the angry and ferocious Shiva. So, has Madhu also met with the same fate as has Manmata met with? So that is the question that she is asking, because Madhu has not been seen around at all. So with these words, her weeping and wailing comes to an end, and suddenly there appears Madhu or Vasanta.
क्वनु ते हृदयङ्गमसखा कुसुमायोजितकार्मुको वधूः क्वनु ते हृदयङ्गमसखा कुसुमायोजितकार्मुको वधूः न खलु उग्ररुषा पिनाकिना गमितस्सोऽपि सुहृद्गतां गतिं ते सखा हृदयङ्गमस्ते सखा कुसुमायोजितकार्मुको वधूः क्वनु न खलु उग्ररुषा पिनाकिना सोऽपि सुहृद्गतां गतिं गमितः सोऽपि न गमितः सुहृद्गतां गतिम्.
So when she was bemoaning her fate like this and wailing like this, Madhu made his appearance. So it is a the very natural sequence of the thoughts and the situations here we must appreciate, because she, as a matter of course, she remembered Madhu, the happy and merry moments that Manmatha spent with Madhu. So she remembered that, and it's also a very natural thing that such thoughts occur to one. And even as she remembers Madhu, she's also puzzled why Madhu is not seen around, because he was the eternal companion of Manmatha and he is suddenly missing. And therefore, she wonders for a moment whether he too has met with the same fate as Manmatha has. And therefore, she asks, why is Madhu not seen around, and so on. And then Madhu is hurt by her words and touched to the quick, he makes his appearance there. अततैः परिदेविताक्षरैर्हृदये दिग्धशरैर्शरैरिवाहतः रतिमभ्युपपत्तु मातुरां मधुरात्मानमदर्शयत् पुरः. So Madhu presented himself, Atmanam adarshayat, he showed himself. So Madhu presents himself before Rati. Atmanam Madhuhu Puraha adarshayat. Puraha right in front of. So Rati, he presents himself there because it was as though he was wounded by ahataha, arrows, sharaihi. So, which are not ordinary arrows. Those were arrows which were smeared with poison. Digdha sharaihi. Sometimes the word digdha itself stands for vishadigdha, means smeared with poison. So, as though attacked by poison tipped arrows, which digdha sharaiva ahataha, so in his heart. So it is as though the arrow has come and hit him straight in his heart. And what caused this effect upon Madhu? It was those words of lamentation of Rati. So paridevitaksharaihi, the expressions of sorrow. Paridevita is lamenting and crying. So The words of cry of Rati were like arrows. They hurt Madhu very deeply, and it hurt him so much. It was as though those words were the very arrows which were smeared with poison, and therefore they caused him immense pain. For whatever reason he was not seen so far, he presented himself immediately now right in front of Rati, and he came there to console Rati. Ratim abhyupapattum. Abhyupapattum is to appease, to console. So Aturam Ratim, Rati was bereaved, Rati was so mentally affected. So Aturam means a person in distress. Rati was so much in distress, it was the height of distress that could ever be for a wife so loving towards her husband. And therefore, at that moment when she was bewailing and lamenting, her words as to why Manmatha was not to be seen around, and her expression of wonder as to whether he too has been reduced to ashes as Manmatha has been. So those words touch him very deeply, and they wound his heart, and it is as though he has been wounded right in his heart by a poisoned arrow, that he feels the hurt, and he appears himself before Rati, and this he does to console her. Ratim abhyupapattum aturam ratim abhyupapattum madhuhu puraha atmanam adarshayat. He presents himself before Rati, and when Rati saw Madhu, her sorrow knew no bounds. Tamavekshya rodasabhrisham स्तनसंबाधमुरो जघान च सुजनस्य हि दुःखमग्रतो विवृतद्वारमिवोपजायते. In all these stages, you can see Kalidasa as a master psychologist. So he knows what happens to a person in a given situation. So every type of situation that we can conceive of, every type of situation that can happen in our life, every such situation can be very clearly visualized by Kalidasa and can be expressed by him in an equally potent manner. So Tamavekshya Raroda Sa Prisham. Seeing Madhu now, so seeing Mr. Vasanta, the spring, Tam Avekshya, she cried. Sa Raroda Brisham. So she cried very much. So how intense was her crying and wailing? Stana Sambadham. She beat her breasts. So Stana Sambadham, Uro Jaghanacha, and Uraha Jaghanacha, and she also beats her breasts. So Stana Sambadham, Uro Jaghanacha. So Janasya hi dukkam agrato. This is the psychological note by the poet. Swajanasya agrata, in front of people whom we feel as the kinsman, as a very dear fellow. Swajanasya hi agrata, in front of a dear and near person. Dukkham vivridadvaramiva upajayati. Sorrow becomes, as it were, very freely getting an outlet. So vivrita dwaram. Dwaram means the gates. So open, vivrita. Vivrita dwaramiva upajayate. So the sorrow expresses itself in full force at a moment when there is someone who is very near and dear to our heart. Sujanasya hi dukkham agrato vivrita dwaramiva upajayate. In Shakuntala, Kalidasa says, Snigdhajana samvibhaktam hi dukkham sahya vedanam bhavati. So in moments of sorrow, it is when we share the sorrow with someone who is near and dear to us that the pain becomes tolerable. And in this situation, so she is crying, so it's a full throat crying by Rati. And Kalidasa says that it is at such moment when we are affected by a great sorrow, and someone who is near and dear to us gets close to us at that moment, that our own sorrow the floodgates of the sorrow get open. So she cries freely in front of him. So from Shloka 27 till 38, some 11 shlokas, she is now speaking to Madhu. And she says, Iti chainam uvacha dukhita. And she says, she tells, dukhita, so full of sorrow, she spoke to him. Iti cha enam uvacha dukhita. Suhridav pashya vasanta kim sthitam. Vasanta, O spring, O Madhu, pashya, look. Suhridaha kim sthitam. What remains of your friend now? So, Suhriti is your friend. So she addresses him as the friend of Madhu. So, look at what has happened to your friend. Suhridav pashya vasanta kim sthitam. What remains of him? Of course, nothing but ashes remain of him. And she is drawing attention to that. Tadidam kanasho vikiryate pavanair bhasma kapota karburam. So there remains only the bhasma or the ashes of Manmatha. So, and how is that bhasma? Kapota karburam. It is color much like the pigeon. Kapota is the pigeon, and karburam means having multiple colors, variegated in colors like the kapota. So is this bhasma, and even that bhasma or ashes. So they are getting scattered. Vikiryate, scattered. Kanashaha, particle by particle, by pavanai, by the winds that are blowing. So look, oh friend, at the state of your friend. So suhradaha kim sthitam pashya. See what remains of your friend now. So it's nothing but bhasma. So having varied colors as a kapota or a pigeon, and even the ashes are slowly, particle by particle, getting dispersed and distributed and scattered by the winds that are blowing. Tadidam kanasho vikiryate pavanair bhasma kapota karburam. Ayi samprati dehi darshanam smara paryutsuka esha madhavaha daita swanavasthitam nranam nakhalu prema chalam suhrijjane. She suddenly addresses Manmatha himself now. So we can see that it's almost a state of delirium for Pati, and for a moment she addresses Madhu, and for another moment she addresses Manmatha, who is already dead. So Ayi samprati dehi darshanam smara. Oh smara, oh Manmatha. Smara is one of the names of Manmatha. In fact, Manmatha has been called Smara because after he has been reduced to ashes, he remains only in memory, and therefore is a matter of mere memory, and therefore he gets that name Smara only after his body has been reduced to ashes by Manmatha, by Lord Shiva. So she says, appear before me, O Manmatha. Samprati dehi darshanam smara. So, Ayi samprati dehi darshanam smara paryutsuka esha madhava. Here is your friend Madhava. Madhu or Madhava mean the same thing. So, esha madhava. So here is Madhava, the spring, who is pining for you. Paryutsuka. He wants to meet you. He wants to talk to you. So please appear before him. Paryutsukaha eshaha madhavaha. And she also makes a comment that many times it may so happen that a man may not really love his wife so very much, but definitely love towards a friend will be abiding. So dayitasu anavasthitam nranam prema. Nranam prema, the love of men. Dayitasu anavasthitam. It may not be quite steady with regard to the women folk. Dayitasu, even towards their beloved or beloveds. So nranam prema anavasthitam. The love of men may be unsteady, but it can never be chalam, it can never be unsteady, not chalam, suhrijjane, regarding the friends. And therefore, she suspects that Manmatha's love towards Madhu may be more abiding than love towards herself. So, it's all, of course, that at moments like these, varied thoughts which may or may not have any basis occur to the mind of a person like Rati, who loved her husband so very deeply. And she says, "Here is your friend, your dear friend, who has come to see you. So he is so anxious to meet you. So he is Paryutsuka, and therefore, please speak now, appear before us, O Manmatha," she is asking him. अमुना पार्श्ववर्तिना जगदाज्ञां ससुरासुरं तव विसदन्तु गुणस्य कारितं धनुषः पेलव पुष्पपत्रिणः. And she also remembers the vital role played by Madhu in the life of Manmatha, because if the world obeys Manmatha, then it is because of Madhu. So, but for the full and great cooperation that was given by Madhu, it perhaps would not have been possible that the whole world is under the thumb of Manmatha. So, the entire world, Jagat is the world, and in this, the world that she is referring to is not merely to the world of mortals, but the one that includes the immortals, the divinities, the suras, and the asuras also. Sasurasuram Jagat. So, Ajnam Tava Karitam. So, it all has all been made. So, Jagat Karitam has been made to obey, to abide by your commands. So, Tava Ajnam Karitam. They made to abide by the command of your bow. Dhanushaha Ajnam Karitam. So, all that was because of this person, Madhu, who is now by your side. Amuna Nanu Parshvavartina. So by this Madhu, so she doesn't refer to Madhu by name, but she only says he is a Parshvavarti. So Parshvavarti is a sort of an eternal comrade, so who has always been with you. And right now, of course, she is there with him now. So pointing towards him, Amuna. So there is a nirdesha by the word Amuna. So Amuna Nanu Parshvavartina, pointing towards Madhu, she says, by this person who is abiding here. So your abiding friend is now by my side, and it is on account of him that the command of your bows was attended to by the entire world, including the demons and the divinities. And the peculiarity of the situation was that the Dhanus of Manmatha is something very special. So it's made of the most tender things, and yet it could command the entire world, including gods and demons. So Visadantu Gunasya Karitam Dhanusha Pelava Pushpapatrinaha. The string of the bow is made. So sometimes it is shown as made of flowers, and sometimes it is shown as made of nothing but the lotus stalk. So Bisa means lotus. So Bisatantu is the lotus stalk. So Bisatantu, Bisa or Bisatantu refers to the lotus stalk. So Bisatantu Gunasya, Guna in Sanskrit means string. So Guna has various meanings. So here it means the string. So Bisatantu Gunasya Karitam Dhanushaha. So Dhanushaha is qualified by two adjectives. One referring to the bow string that we saw now, Bisatantu Gunasya, and the other refers to the arrows. So Pelava Pushpa Patrinaha. So Patrin in Sanskrit refers to the arrow, because at the hind edge, the rear edge of the arrow is the leaf-like mark there, and therefore it is called Patrin. So Patra is a leaf, having the leaf-like mark. Patra also means the wing of a bird, and therefore that the wing of the arrow is what is referred to, and that is also made of flowers which are extremely tender. Pelava means tender. Pelava Pushpapatrinaha Dhanushaha Bisitantu Gunasya Dhanushaha Ajnam Karitam Jagat. The whole world has been made to listen to this bow of yours, which is so very special, which is extremely fragile and tender, and yet the whole world listens to it and abides by its command. And therefore, here is your friend, your dear friend Madhu. So please appear before us. Gata eva nivartate nivartate sasakha deepa ivanadahataha ahamasya dasheva pashya mam avashahya vyasanena dhumitam. A very beautiful imagery is presented in this verse. So she says, now these words are addressed to Madhu. Gata eva nate nivartate sasakha. So, O Madhu, your friend, saha sakha te, gata eva, gone, never to return, na nivartate, deepa iva anilahataha. So, like a lamp, deepaha iva, which has been blown by the wind, anila ahataha. So, it is blown off by the wind, and she continues the imagery. This is a very common comparison that is given for a life that is departed. So, it is the flame that is departed from the lamp, and therefore it's of no use anymore. And at the moment of this departure of this life, this flame, it is then that we suddenly come to see the varti or the wick of the lamp, and also some smoke issues at the moment of this stoppage. So ahamasya dasheva, she says, I am like the wick of the lamp. Ahamasya dasha in Sanskrit means the wick of a lamp. Dasha has other meanings also. Dasha means condition. So dasha also means the edge of a garment. So here it means the wick of a lamp. Ahamasya dasheva pashyamam. Look at me who resembles the wick of the lamp. Avishahya vyasanena dhumitam. And I become smoky now. So because of dhumitam, on account of the avishahya vyasana, the unbearable sorrow. Sahya is what can be borne with. Vishahya, same meaning. Avishahya, what just cannot be borne with at all. With unbearable misery, it is as though I am I'm full of smoke all around. And therefore she gives the imagery of a lamp that is now put off by the wind. Anilahataha deepaha iva. Next one. Vidhina kritam ardhavaishasam nanumam kamamadhe vimunjata anapayini samshayadrume gajabhagne patanaya valak. This is also another beautiful imagery. In Sanskrit we see this kind of continued imagery. So it's not just a one point to one point comparison, but on the other hand a whole imagery having a parallel with another idea. She says, Vidhina kritam ardhavaishasam. She now blames fate. So fate has been extremely cruel to me. So it has done a sort of a half butchery. So sometimes we say, don't leave an animal or even an insect half killed. Either kill it fully or leave it. So ardha vaishasam is half butchery that has been performed. So in Sanskrit, Vishasa is a person who is a butcher. So Vaishasa is cruelty, and therefore this is not a mark of kindness at all of vidhi, of fate. Vidhina kritam ardha vaishasam, it is a sort of a state of half butchery for me. Nanu mam kama vadhe vimunchata, because while killing Kama, while killing Manmatha, fate has not slain me. Mam vimunchata, it has spared me. So it is killing me by not killing me. So Kama vadhe mam vimunchata. So we two are but one. Manmatha and I are but one. And when Manmatha has been killed and I have not been, when I have been spared, it is as though Vidhi has performed a kind of half butchery. Anapayini samshrayadrume gajabhagne patanaya vallari. She gives a beautiful comparison. There is a tree, and entwining which there is a creeper. So obviously Rati is the creeper and the tree is Manmatha. So Anapayini samshrayadrume. So the creeper Vallari has resorted to the the tree, the supporting tree. Druma is the tree. Samshraya Druma is the supporting tree, and the creeper trusts that tree to be ever abiding. So Anapayini, so the trusted tree, Samshraya Drume, and suddenly an elephant has come and felled that tree. Gaja Bhagne, when that tree has been felled, the creeper too falls on the ground. Patanaya Vallari. So the verb kalpate should be understood. So Vallari Patanaya Kalpate. So the creeper too would naturally fall down, and therefore fate has been extremely cruel to me. You can see how in the Ramayana also, when of the two Krauncha birds, when one has been killed, how the other was wriggling and struggling and crying, no end. And similarly here, in fact, this is a beautiful comparison to compare this Rati Vilapa with Aja Vilapa and Raghuvamsha, where he loses his wife. So here Rati has lost her husband, and there Aja loses his wife. And there are some parallels, but there are also certain beautiful contrasts between the two descriptions.
गत एव रते निवर्तते ससखा दीप इवानिलाहतः अहमस्य दशेव पश्य माम् अविषह्य व्यसने सते सखा अनिलाहतो दीपैव गतयेव न निवर्तते ससखा ते न निवर्तते अहमस्य दशाइव अहमस्य दशाइव अविषह्य व्यसनेन धूमितां विधिना कृतम् अर्धवैषसं ननु मां कामवधे विमुञ्चतः विधिना अर्धवैषसं कृतम् ननु कामवधे विमुञ्चतः अनपायिनि संशयद्रुमे अनपायिनि संशयद्रुमे गजभग्ने पतनाय वल्लरी संशयद्रुमे गजभग्ने पतनाय वल्लरी अनपायिनि संशयद्रुमे गजभग्ने पतनाय वल्लरी ननु मां विधिना अर्धवैषसं कृतम्.
And she says, It's impossible for me to live without him. Tadidam kriyatam anantaram bhavata bandhujana prayojanam. Oh Vasanta, please do me a favor. Now perhaps this is the last favor that I can ask of you. So when somebody is dead, a kinsman has some duties, and it is one of those duties that I am asking for. Bandhujana prayojanam. So some task, so some duty that needs to be performed by a bandhujana, so by a kinsman. So bhavata bandhujana prayojanam kriyatam. So the one that has to be done soon after, anantaram. In many languages in our country we use the word anantaram or even nantaram, so as something just afterwards. But in Sanskrit the word anantaram means what is done immediately. So it can be used, in fact the word Sanskrit, the word anantaram in Sanskrit is used for something that is done immediately, either before or either after. So antaram means gap, anantaram means without any gap, and therefore what must be done immediately now. So soon after the death of Manmatha, Tajidam Kriyatam, please do this. And what is the task that Manmatha is asked, Madhu is asked to do? Vidhuram Jaranati Sarjanat Nanumam Prapaya Pattirantikam. So help me go to my husband. Mam Prapaya, so make me reach. Pattirantikam, go to my husband. Nanumam Prapaya Pattirantikam. Won't you do this, O Madhu? So help me go to my husband, so that I go near him. Jvalana Atisarjanat Vidhuram Mam. Now I am now utterly helpless, Vidhuram, and therefore please set fire to me. Jvalana Atisarjanat, by offering fire. So that is to say, I want to die. I can no more live without my dear husband Manmatha, and therefore I am resolved to die. I want to go and join him, and therefore please help me. Please set fire to me. And therefore this is the Bandhujana Prayojana. It's a natural duty of a kith. The kith and kin have to perform this duty, and therefore please set fire to me. Vidhuram Jaranati Sarjanat Nanumam Prapaya. Vidhuram Mam Prapaya. Helpless I am that I am. Help me join my husband. Mam Prapaya Patyuhu Antikam. Let me go to where my husband is. Oh Madhu, set fire to me. So arrange for the funeral pyre. So let me die too. Shishina Sahayati Kaumudi Sahameghena Tadit Praliyate Pramadapati Vartmaga iti Pratipannam Vichetanayati. Another beautiful imagery. So this issue of Anumarana, or dying soon after the husband dies. So voluntarily dying after the husband dies is something that comes as a very natural emotion. In fact, Ananda Kumar Swami has written an article on the issue of sati, wherein he has shown that history also bears out how in the case of even men this happens when the love is very intense, though it happens even more so in the case of women. And therefore she says, I would like to die, and therefore Vidhuram Jaranat Sarjanat Nanumam Prapaya Pattirantikam. She gives two comparisons in this verse. Shashina Sahayati Kaumudi. In Sanskrit, the gender of the words, so because it is something that is not comparable to English or say Kannada or Tamil, so we don't have the natural gender system. So in Sanskrit, in languages like Sanskrit, German and French, we have a different kind of gender system. So in Sanskrit, it has come on, it is said to have come on a very scientific basis. So there is a discussion in Vakyapadiya about the gender of words. So we will not go into those grammatical discussions. So in Sanskrit, the moon is masculine and moonlight is feminine. Shashin is masculine and Kaumudi is feminine. You can see that in English we refer to the sun as he and the moon as she. So in German it is the exact opposite. In German, D Monde, the moon, is referred to, is spoken of as the feminine, and uh, um, uh, Der Monde. So the moon is masculine, and Die Sonne, the sun is feminine in German. In Sanskrit, both the sun and the moon are masculine. So Shashin and then Surya, so both are masculine. At this point, it must also be mentioned that it is often that we name girls by the word Shashi. So it is actually not a proper thing. So the word Shashi is derived from Shasha, which means the rabbit. The moon is said to have the mark of a rabbit, and therefore he who has the mark of a Shasha is called Shashin, or sometimes as Shashanka. So Shashin and Shashanka are both masculine and refer to the moon. And if we have to refer to or name a girl involving the word Shashi, must invariably name her as Shashi Kala. So Chandra Kala or Shashi Kala is proper for a girl, whereas mere Shashi is improper as the name for a girl. Anyhow, here it is the moon that is being referred to, and therefore Shashina Saha, along with the moon, Kaumudi Yati. Kaumudi is the moonlight. So the moonlight disappears when the moon has disappeared. So when the male has disappeared, the female too follows suit. So with the disappearance of the moon, so does the moonlight disappear. Shashina Sahayati Kaumudi Sahameghena Tadit Praliyate. It is also common to speak of the sun and the sunlight as husband and wife, the moon and the moonlight as husband and wife, and the tree and the creeper as husband and wife. So as we saw in the previous verse also, the Druma and Vallari, they are referred to as the husband and wife. And even so, the cloud and the lightning are referred to as husband and wife, also because the gender of the words is there, comes in very handy. So all synonyms of Megha or cloud are masculine in Sanskrit, and then all synonyms of lightning are feminine in Sanskrit, and therefore the cloud and the lightning are spoken of as masculine and feminine and as husband and wife. And therefore Sahameghena Tadit Praliyate, so along with the cloud, even the lightning disappears. So it is only as long as the cloud is water bearing, so that you can see the flashes of lightning. And once it begins to rain, so in the midst of the rain is no lightning seen, because that portion of the cloud has already melted and has given way. And therefore with the disappearance of the cloud, the lightning also disappears. And Pramada Pativartmagaha, the one lesson that we can draw from both the instances is that Pramadaha, women folk, Pativartmagaha, they just follow the course of their husband. Vartma is the path or the track. So Pativartmagaha, so they choose to go the way their husband goes. So that is the course of women. Pramada Pativartmagaha iti pratipannam hi vichetanairat. And she says, this is followed by even insentient beings, leave alone human beings. So the moon and moonlight are not living beings. Similarly, the cloud and the lightning are not living beings. So even though they are non-living beings, even though insentient they follow this principle, and even there the feminine follows the masculine, the wife, so the beloved follows the lover, and so on. And therefore Pramada Pativartmagaha iti pratipannam hi vichetanayrapi. So even the lifeless follow this maxim, and therefore it's only very natural that I should follow you. So I want to follow you.
Shashina Sahayati Kaumudi सह मेघेन तडित्प्रलीयते प्रमदाः पतिवर्त्मगा इति प्रतिपन्नं हि विचेतनैरपि कौमुदी शशिना सह याति तडित्मेघेन सह प्रलीयते प्रमदाः पतिवर्त्मगा इति प्रतिपन्नं हि विचेतनैरपि प्रतिपन्नं हि विचेतनैरपि.
There is also this philosophical discussion in some of the commentaries as to whether it is proper to call Shashi, Kaumudi, Megha and Tadit, the moon and moonlight, the cloud and the lightning as Vichetana, as lifeless. So it is interpreted as having very little life. So Vichetana is referred to as Alpa Chetana. So there is also the philosophical view that there is nothing insentient in the world. So only it's a question of the sentience being udbuddha or anudbuddha, manifest or not manifest. So that way these things also have life, and even these things follow this rule and maxim. So namely that the feminine follows the masculine. This is what's also called in Sanskrit arthapati. When even insentient beings do this, won't sentient beings do this? Sometimes called kaimutika nyaya. So from the expression kimuta. So what then to say of? So because a lakshana of pativrata is given thus in Sanskrit: artarte. So the husband is full of sorrow, she will also be naturally full of sorrow. Mudite hrishta, when he is happy, she will be happy. Proshite malina krisha, when the husband is away, so she will not be very well dressed and she gets emaciated. So krisha. And mrite mriyeta yapatyo, and when the husband dies, she too can't afford to live. So loving she is towards her husband. It is such a woman that is called pativrata. Sastri jnaya pativrata. And therefore you must also note that this anumarana was not something that was enforced. So Western scholars who have tried to depict scenes of the sati system, so they have always tried to show this as something that is forced upon the woman. We can see, for example, anumarana happening in the Ramayana and in the Mahabharata and so on, where, for example, when Dasharatha dies, neither Kausalya or the other two wives, they do not die at all. On the other hand, in the Mahabharata, when Pandu dies, there is a competition between Draupadi and Madri as to between Kunti and Madri as to who should die, and therefore, so Kunti gives her own arguments and Madri gives her own arguments that she is the most eligible person, the more of the eligible of the two to die, and so on. Therefore, there is rather a competition, it is never forced upon anybody. Of course, later in historical times, subsequent to and consequent to the Muslim invasions and the atrocities that Mughal kings perpetrated upon Hindu women, this must have got a greater incentive that it is better to die than to be humiliated by them, whom they enjoy using Hindu women as their sex slaves and so on, and therefore on account of those unutterable atrocities perpetrated by them, so that this might have gone a greater fillip. But otherwise, it is always the choice that was given and it was never forced upon. And as I told earlier, Ananda Kumar Swami shows that it has happened even through history, it has happened even in the case of men, and not merely in India, though on a large scale naturally in our own country. अमुनैव कषायितस्तनी सुभगेन प्रियगात्रभस्मना नवपल्लवसंस्तरे यथा रचयिष्यामि तनुं विभावसौ. She says, I am offering my body on the fire. So on this fire. So vibhavasu is fire. Tanum vibhavasau rachayishyam. I am going to place my body on the fire. I am going to ascend the funeral pyre now, as I would do Navapallava Samstare. So when I would go to sleep with my husband for enjoyment, for sexual enjoyment, so on a heap of flowers, Navapallava Samstare. So Pallava is the sprout, the fresh sprouts on a Samstara is a bed. As on a bed of fresh sprouts, when a woman would go to her husband to enjoy his company, equally joyously, I would now like to offer my body in fire, so in order to join my husband. So Amunaiva, along with him, along with this bhasma or ashes of the body of my beloved, Priya Gatra Bhasmana. In Kannada, the word Gatra is used in a slightly different sense, in the sense of size. But in Sanskrit, Gatra stands for the body, and therefore Priyagatra Bhasmana, along with the Bhasman or the ashes of the body of my beloved, which is it's so charming. Even that she feels is charming. Subhagena Priyagatra Bhasmana Kashayitastani. So I would smear the ashes of my beloved husband upon my entire body. So Kashayitastani on my even my bosom, and I would like to go and now enter the fire. So we'll quickly finish the next verse and stop. Kusumastarane sahayatam bahusha saumya gatasthamavayoho kurusamprati avadashu me pranipatanjali yachitas chitam. So chitam kuru, please get ready the funeral pyre. So chita is the fire that is set for the burning of the body. So chitam kuru, set the funeral pyre. So ashu samprati, so just do it, tavat, so immediately, right now, and I am begging you to do this. Pranipatanjali yachitaha, so I am begging, you are now being begged. I am begging you, O Madhu. So being begged by me with my pranipata and my anjali, I prostrate before you, and with my folded hands. Anjali is folded hands. So I am now requesting you. So because earlier also you used to help us, so you used to give us excellent help. So earlier when Manmatha and Rati would go to sleep, Madhu would give his helping hand in setting the bed. Kusumastarane sahayatam, you used to be a help, sahayatam gataha. So Kusumastarane, in preparing the bed of flowers. Bahushaha, this has been done several times. Saumya, O pleasant friend. Gatastvam avayoho. Avayoho sahayatam gataha tvam. You were there as a help. So by preparing the bed for us to go to sleep. And now also I request you to prepare this bed of fire for me to go and join my husband Manmatha. So in just under 2-3 verses, the speech of Rati comes to an end, and then happens an Asharirvani which promises that she should not commit suicide, she should not end her life, and she will be united with her husband. Namaskar.